Happy New Year! Access your first free language gifts of the year right now. Here's what you're getting this month. First, the National Holidays cheat sheet. Want to know more about national holidays in the country you love? This conversation cheat sheet will not only give you the dates, but will also teach you all the words and phrases to talk about these holidays. Second, do you know 7 tested ways to learn language fast? With this ebook, you'll learn how to speak better, remember more words, and improve fast. Download it for free right now. Third, do you have allergies and want to be able to read food packaging? Check out the most useful words and phrases you should know when reading food packaging, from nutritional value to allergens. Fourth, want to be able to talk about the world around you? Then this next 1-minute lesson is for you. You'll learn common geography vocab fast. Fifth, want to play video games in your target language? You'll learn the basic video game words and phrases with this 1-minute lesson. Sixth, want to learn the language on your phone? Then download our Innovative Language 101 app for free for the Android, iPhone, and iPad. You'll learn fast and start speaking in minutes. And finally, the deal of the month. If you want to finally master the language with lessons by real teachers and our complete language learning program, take the 12-month challenge and get 12 months of Premium or Premium Plus at up to 45% off. To get your gifts and language learning resources, click the link in the description below. Download them right now before they expire. Hi everybody, welcome back to Ask Alicia, the weekly series where you ask me questions and I answer them. Maybe. First question this week comes from Stefan. Hi Stefan. Stefan says, hi Alicia, what is the meaning of the phrase to get used to doing something? Does it refer to a completed action or not? And can we use it in present simple, like I get used to getting up early? Yeah, okay. To get used to doing something means to become accustomed to doing something. We tend to use it more in simple past tense, as in your example, I got used to getting up early, or I got used to waking up early. When we use it in the past tense got instead of present tense get, it means that the speaker has already become accustomed to doing that thing. So in the sentence, I got used to waking up early, it means the speaker is now accustomed to getting up early. They're fine. We can, however, as you suggest, use it in the present tense as well, like I need to get used to getting up early. That's an expression for like a desire to be able to get up early, which means that the speaker is not now able to get up early, or they're not accustomed to getting up early. So yes, you can use it in present tense, but it's probably going to be used in a situation where the speaker is expressing a desire or some kind of need for a new behavior, for some kind of new behavior to be learned. If it's in a conversation, a speaker might say like, don't worry about your new job, you'll get used to getting up early. So it's you'll get used to. In that case, it's a future tense expression, like you are going to get used to getting up early through this job. Or another way of saying that is you will become accustomed to getting up early through this job. So to get used to something means to take time and practice to get accustomed to something, to become accustomed to something. We use it all the time when we're learning new things, like you'll get used to learning English, or you'll get used to speaking English, or you'll get used to talking in front of a camera. All of these different things that take some time and practice to do, we can describe those with get used to, or once we've become accustomed to them, got used to. So I hope that this helps you. Thanks very much for the question. Okay, let's move on to your next question. Next question comes from Aswin. Hi Aswin. Aswin says, what's the difference between do you, did you, and are you when I ask questions? Okay, first, let's talk about do you and also does he or does she. So this do and does pattern. We use these do and does patterns when we're making simple present tense questions like do you have a pen, or does he exercise every day, or do you know where my bag is? So we're asking these simple yes or no questions with a simple present tense verb. So we could answer yes or no to all of these questions. So let's compare this then to did. So did is just the past tense of do. We use did in the same way as do, but when we're asking simple past tense questions. For example, did you just call me? Or did he forget his wallet? Or did we buy enough food? So these are all simple past tense questions. We don't conjugate the verb that comes after do. Rather, we conjugate did. So did is the past form of do. Finally, let's compare this with are you, or for example, is he or is she. When we begin sentences with is or are, we're typically using them with an adjective or with a progressive tense verb. So we're asking simple questions, again, yes or no questions, but the thing that follows is or are is an adjective or is a verb in the ing form. As in, is he sleeping? Or are you okay? Or is he at the office? So these yes or no questions don't use simple present tense verbs in the part that comes after the is or are. So to recap, do and does are used in present tense or past tense with simple present tense verbs, and are you or is he, is she are used with adjectives and with verbs in the progressive form. So these all are ways of making yes or no questions, but the grammar and the structure of the sentence just changes a little bit. So I hope that this helps you. Thanks very much for the question. Okay, let's move on to your next question. Next question comes from Anderson Souza again. Hi, Anderson. Anderson says, hi, Alicia. I'm a bit confused with the difference between the present perfect and the present perfect continuous. If I want to say that I live in some place and have lived there for some time, which one should I use? Okay, you can use either. For example, I have lived in Portland for 3 years. And I've been living in Portland for 3 years. So at base, these two sentences have exactly the same meaning. They mean exactly the same thing. The only thing that changes here is perhaps the situations in which we might use these. Let's take a look at the first example here to begin with. Let's imagine that you're at a going away party, a farewell party for yourself. It's your party. You are leaving the city of Portland. You might say to your friend at the party, I have lived in Portland for 3 years. It's been great to live here, but I'm excited about my next step. So in that case, present perfect tense, not using the continuous, sounds quite normal because you want to talk about this period of time you've spent in Portland. It started 3 years ago. It continued till now at this party in Portland right now. And so you want to emphasize, like, yes, this has been a continued experience up until this point in time, but it would sound strange to say, I lived in Portland for 3 years, because actually at the party, you're still in Portland. Maybe you have a few days or another week or so. So it would sound strange to use simple past tense here. We don't want to use the continuous tense here because the continuous tense really emphasizes that something is going to continue after the conversation, perhaps. So in this case, just using present perfect tense without the continuous form sounds the most natural. Let's compare this then to another situation. In this situation, you are in Portland and you're at a networking event for your job. You meet someone there and you're talking about like basic things, where you live and so on. You might say, I've been living in Portland for 3 years. It's a great place to live. So in this case, we're using the present perfect continuous. We choose this, it sounds most natural, because we want to emphasize that we are going to remain in Portland. I'm going to continue the condition of living in Portland. So this sounds a little bit more natural, and it sounds like it's more emphasis on my continued presence in Portland, which we want to emphasize here because we might be making a new business connection. So in sum, these two sentences communicate exactly the same thing, yes, but there are just some small differences that depend on the situation, and that's the reason that we might choose to use simple present perfect tense as opposed to the present perfect continuous. So try to keep these sorts of situations in mind when you're choosing between these two. I hope that this helps you. Thanks very much for the question. Okay, let's move on to your next question. Next question comes from Nini Ong. I hope I said that right. Hi, Nini. Nini says, what does can't help plus the progressive form mean? Okay, yeah, this is like saying, I can't control this behavior. So a great example is if you're watching a funny movie and when you try to explain your feelings about the movie, you might say, I can't help laughing at this scene. Can't help laughing means I can't control the behavior of laughing. You might also hear I can't help but, and then the simple present tense form of the verb, as in I can't help but laugh. So I can't help but laugh and I can't help laughing both communicate this loss of control. I'm not able to control this thing. We tend to use this sort of pattern when we're talking about emotions. So in this case, it's about laughter. You might also hear it used to talk about feelings, like I can't help feeling angry, or I can't help feeling worried about this situation. I can't help feeling means I don't have any control over this emotion or this action. We tend to use this pattern for like emotional and mental state verbs. We might use it for some other kind of like bodily related verbs, like I can't help watching or I can't help looking and so on. So it's like these sorts of actions that maybe we don't even think about doing and that we just do automatically if we see something interesting or exciting or if something smells terrible, whatever that is. It's like some situation where we lose control somehow for a moment. We can express that with can't help plus the progressive form, or I can't help but blah, blah, blah. So some examples, can't help but laugh or can't help laughing. I can't help but feel and can't help feeling. Or I can't help but look or can't help looking. So there's not really a difference in meaning between present tense and the progressive tense there. But I would say personally, I feel that that can't help but present tense sounds a little bit more formal. So I hope that this helps you understand the meaning of this can't help plus the progressive form of a verb. Thanks very much for the question. Okay, let's move on to your next question. Next question comes from Kitty. Hi, Kitty. Kitty says, hi, what is the difference between have to and must? All right, must is used for official rules and strong advice, very strong personal advice. So for official rules, you might see in the airport, passengers must show their passports to immigration. Or for strong advice, a doctor might say to a patient, you must stop smoking or you're going to die. So in these very serious official situations, must sounds very appropriate. Must sounds too official for everyday speech. We don't use it so much for giving advice or for talking about rules in everyday speech. However, you might see it in something like your company's rules, like your corporate policy, like employees must wear business shirts to work, for example. Let's compare this then to have to. We use have to talk about our responsibilities, and we also use have to talk about friendly advice, or rather to give friendly advice that also sounds a bit strong. For example, you have to try this dessert, it's so good. Or I have to go to the bank today. So have to for advice sounds friendly and strong, but it's not used for very serious things like we did with must. So please keep this in mind when you're choosing between these two. Also, if you would like some more information about have to and must, there is a live stream about this exact topic on the channel, so please check out our channel archives for some more information about this. There is also a whiteboard about this topic coming up soon, so please keep an eye out for that too. I hope that this quick introduction helps you, and definitely check out the other resources on our channel. Thanks very much for the question. Okay, that is everything that I have for this week. Thank you, as always, for sending your questions. Remember, you can send them to me at englishclass101.com/ask-Alicia. Thanks very much for watching this week's episode of Ask Alicia, and I will see you again next week. Bye-bye. Hi everybody, my name is Alicia. In this lesson, we're going to talk about reporting speech in English. I'm going to talk about the verbs we use and a couple of grammar points that you can think about. So let's get started. The first type of speech reporting I want to introduce is reporting statements. So statements are just simple things, simple sentences that people said. So this can be direct dialogue, exactly the thing someone said, or it can be a summary of something someone said. So keep in mind these are not questions. I'm going to talk about questions later. Let's look at the verbs and the other expressions we use to report simple statements. The first one is the very, very neutral said. I said. Said is the past tense form of say. So we use say and past tense said as the most basic way to share something someone else said. So we can use this for direct reports, meaning exactly the thing someone said. We do this. We use quotes to indicate direct speech. Or we can just use it as I have here to introduce a summary of something. In this example sentence, I said I had to work. So this is just a simple summary. I said something similar in the past, perhaps, but this is maybe not a direct report of my speech. We can use said in most cases just to report information. This was said by someone. The speaker is here, the subject. So I, in this case, I said I had to work. We could change it to he said he had to work is fine. They said they had to work. So this is the most basic verb we can use to report speech. Let's move on to a couple other ones. Let's look at this told. Here I'm using the verb tell, but I'm using past tense told. So here the speaker is indicated at the beginning of the sentence, he, and then the person receiving the information, in this case me, follows the verb. So he told me, in this case, the train was late. He told me the train was late. So this is a past situation. I received information from him. The information was this. He told me the train was late. So you can change the person speaking and the person receiving by changing these two parts on either side of the verb. My mother told my brother to clean his room, for example. So keep in mind when you use the verb tell, or in this case past tense told, the idea is that it's more one-way communication. It's not really a conversation. In this case, he told me, so meaning information is coming this way only. I'm not sharing information with him, really. He's just sharing something with me. It's one way. So we use told to communicate that. Of course, we could use said here. He said the train was late. Using tell, or in this case past tense told, just makes the feeling of one-way communication stronger. He told me. Okay, now I want to go on to some very casual expressions that you see for reporting direct speech, especially in American English. The first one is this was all. So I've used this in past tense here. You may hear this in present tense, she's all, as in this example. But was all is quite common too. So was all is a very casual way of using a verb like said. However, we use this to report direct speech. So these quotes show this is exactly the thing someone said, these little quotation marks. In this case, she was all, you're not gonna believe this. So this is the exact statement the speaker, she said in the past. She said exactly this. We know this because we've used this reporting expression, and in this case, in the written words, we see the quotation marks here. So when you're speaking or when you're listening for this, you won't hear she was all. You'll hear she was all. So she was all, you're not going to believe this. It's quite fast. She was all. She was all. So sometimes this W sound is very difficult to hear. You might just hear she's all, in which case it sounds like present tense. But in both cases, the basic meaning of just communicating speech remains. So don't worry too much about catching this W sound. So this she's all is fine to understand what's going on. Another one that uses this same was pattern is using like, another very casual way to report direct speech. So in this case, who is speaking? My mom. So my mom was like, you can't go out this weekend. So in this sentence too, these words here are exactly the words my mother said, but we use was like here. So you'll notice that these two expressions, was all and was like, while they're very, very casual, they're used to kind of report something that's maybe shocking or surprising or maybe a little bit gossipy. In this case, maybe the speaker is complaining. So it's very, very casual situations that we use these expressions in. My mom was like, so again, this W sound, my mom was like, this kind of disappears a little bit. We can also use it in present tense. My mom is like, but my mom was like is good for a clear past tense report. Okay, so we use the next pair, went and go, to report speech very casually. So you can see here there is past tense went, present tense go. We use them in the same way. Again, just as with was all and was like, we use these to communicate direct quotes. These are exact quotes, things people actually said. So they went, we're leaving. So again, we could say they said we're leaving, but using went again has this sort of very casual, maybe gossipy, like there's a little bit of exciting information there perhaps. Same thing with go. So I go, fine, I'm leaving too. So we use these two together in very casual situations that have kind of a quick conversational feel about them. We can say these things very quickly in a pair. They went, we're leaving. So I go, fine, I'm leaving too. So having this kind of went and go match together feels very natural, I think, to native speakers. Same thing here. She was all and my mom was like, using these together in the same kind of dialogue report sounds quite natural, I think. But generally, using a mix of all of these to report statements is a really good idea. If you use the exact same expression to report all the time, it sounds a little bit unnatural, kind of stiff. Okay, so these are all for statements. These are all for statements. Let's look at two patterns for questions now. So here I have the past tense asked and inquired used here. I chose these two just because asked is kind of the casual or the everyday verb we can use for questions. Inquired just sounds more formal. It's a more formal way of saying asked. So some examples of this are, I asked about the menu and I asked if there were any vacancies. These are two common patterns. I asked about some topic, or I asked if, and then there's some kind of inquiry point here. I asked if there were any vacancies here. Same thing we can do with inquired. He inquired about the company. So we see this same about plus a topic point. We can also, with the verb ask, use a direct quote too. So for example, I asked, what are you doing? That's also okay. We can use ask with a direct quote. You can also use it with inquired as well, if you like. But perhaps this one is a little bit more useful for everyday conversations and everyday questions. So throughout this lesson, I've talked about using the past tense and the present tense for reporting, but what's the difference? So I want to talk a little bit about that here to finish that. So past tense and present tense, both used to report speech, both fine to report speech. Here I've used simple past and simple present tense. You might also hear progressive tense in the past or in the present tense. But the difference between them, present tense, if you use present tense, it feels like the story is happening now. So if I'm using present tense to report speech and maybe to share the points in the story as well, it sounds like the story is happening now. It's present tense, it's happening in the present. So if I want my story to feel kind of lively and more exciting, I can use present tense to tell my story. If, however, past tense is used, it sounds more like just a simple report. It's like you're just telling facts. What happened? There's not really like a feeling of excitement necessarily. It's just simple reporting. So we see past tense and simple past tense story reporting in the news, for example. So in the news, it's simple reports of fact. What happened on that day? You'll see simple past tense used in English news reports. So this is kind of a key difference that you can think about when you're telling stories and you're reporting information as well. Alright, that's everything for this lesson. I hope that it was useful for you. If you liked the video, please make sure to give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and check us out at EnglishClass101.com for other good study tools. Of course, please feel free to drop us a message in the comments as well. Thanks very much for watching this episode, and I will see you again next time. Bye! Hi everybody, my name is Alicia. In this lesson, I'm going to talk about borrowing and lending expressions. I'm going to share some sample requests you can use for borrowing and lending things, and I'm going to introduce some time expressions you can use with these requests to make more specific questions. So let's begin. Okay. First, I want to look at a category for expressions you can use when you want something. So you want to receive something, in other words. Let's look at the first sentence here then. So it's, will you lend me your car? Here we're using the verb lend, and the person receiving the item follows the verb lend. So in this case, me. Who is receiving it? Me. I am receiving it. The item I'm receiving, your car, comes after the person receiving it. So in this case, lend is used, but let's look at the kind of opposite of this question. Can I borrow some money? So here the verb borrow is being used, but the person receiving, in this case, money, the person receiving the item is the subject here. Can I borrow some money? So here we're not saying, can I borrow some money from you? You can include, can I borrow some money from you? That's okay. But here it's understood. We understand the speaker wants to borrow money from the listener. So this is a key difference. When the verb used is lend, the person receiving the item is the object of the verb. However, when the verb is borrow, the person receiving the item is the subject. So this is something to keep in mind. Let's look at some other examples. Here, I'm not using the word lend and I'm not using the word borrow. Here I'm using use. Can I use some item for a minute? So this specifically includes a verb. What am I going to do? I'm going to use the item. So can I use your pen for a minute? Can I use your computer for a minute? Can I use your phone for a minute? For a minute means a short period of time. Literally, it means 60 seconds, but this indicates just a short period of time, about a minute perhaps. Another one, if you don't want to use will or can, you can also use just a simple please statement. So this is not a question, but please lend me something, something, something. So please lend me your car. Please lend me your pen. This sounds quite formal, actually. Please lend me. Keep in mind, though, we cannot use please borrow. We can't say please borrow me. That's incorrect. We can only use lend here. Please lend me something. Okay. Let's go, though, to the next category here, which is borrowing and lending for someone else. So in these sentences, I've included you and me as the basic pattern. However, if you're talking about someone else or you want to ask person A for something for person B, how do you explain that? Let's look at these examples. First, similar to this, will you lend person your item? So this is very similar to this pattern here. I've replaced me with person here. So will you lend your classmate your pencil? Will you lend your teacher the paper? So something you want comes at the end of the sentence here, and the person follows the verb right here. We can do the same thing when we're using the verb borrow, as we did in this example sentence. Here, we've replaced I in the original sentence with person, so can person borrow your item? So again, because we're using borrow, the person receiving the item is the subject of the verb. So, can my roommate borrow your car? Can my parents borrow your house for the weekend, for example? So just keep in mind that these two verbs always follow the same rule about the positioning of the subject and the object and the person receiving or giving the item. Let's look at one more example though. This is quite a complex situation because the person lending the item and the person receiving the item are not participating in the conversation. The speaker and the listener are talking about some other group of people, for example. Here, I wonder if person A can borrow item from person B. So here we need specifically to describe who is person A and who is person B. They're not participating in the conversation. So I wonder if my dad can borrow a tool from my uncle, for example. So these two people are not participating in the conversation, but we're discussing the possibility. This is how we would do it. This is one example of that. All right, so just to recap then, these are kind of the simple requests that I'm using and that you can use when you're doing borrowing and lending conversation practice. So can I, will you, and please. You'll notice please is not made as a question. Please is just a statement. Can I and will you are actual questions there. So just remember, can I borrow, will you lend? Because the subjects of the sentence indicate different people are receiving and giving the item. Also, just to review as well, this is a key point from this lesson. When you're using the verb lend, the person receiving the item is the object of the verb, as in here. Please lend me your car. Will you lend me your car? Me is the object here. When you're using the verb borrow, the person receiving the item is the subject of the verb, as we saw here. Can I borrow some money? I is the subject. I am receiving the money in this case. Okay, so with that, I want to look at some time expressions that you can add to your request. So I talked about it in this point here. Can I use something for a minute? That's an example of a time expression we can use to make our request a little more specific. So I've used two kind of patterns here. The first group uses for, the second group uses until. So remember, we use for a period of time, a time period, a length of time, in other words. Here, for a minute, I talked about before. For a bit is a casual way to say a short period of time. For a sec is short for a second, also a very short period of time. Literally not a second, 1 second, but very short period of time. Here specifically for a week and for a year. So these are just some examples of lengths of time you can use to add to your request. In the other group, until. Here we see some situations that might happen that would cause the speaker to return the item they have borrowed or to return the item they have been lended. So, can I borrow your car until I get a new one, for example? Or can I borrow your calculator until I find mine? So these sentences, or rather these time expressions show, for example, can I borrow your calculator until I find mine? Means at the point in time I find my calculator, I will return your calculator to you. So until I find mine shows that. Another one, until I can pay you back. This would be used for money. So we talked about here, can I borrow some money until I can pay you back? It's quite a risky question perhaps, but until I can pay you back is one example. Here are some more specific ones with time. Until tomorrow, so until this point in time. Until the test, so again a specific point in time. So we can use until and for with our requests for borrowing and lending. I hope that that helps you make some more specific questions. Anyway, those are all the things that I want to talk about for this lesson. If you have any questions, comments, or would like to practice making sentences or requests, please feel free to do so in the comment section of this video. Of course, if you like the video, don't forget to give us a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and come check us out at EnglishClass101.com for other good study tools. Thanks very much for watching this lesson, and I will see you again soon. Bye! Hi everybody, welcome back to Top Words. My name is Alicia, and today we're going to talk about 10 past perfect continuous patterns. So before we start today's episode of Top Words, this is just a review of a grammar point. So using I've been, I'm going to use I've been to introduce each of these. So for a little bit of grammar review, this means I have been plus a progressive form of the verb, meaning I started at some point in the past and it continues to the current point in time when we are speaking. So all of the sentences, all of the patterns I'm going to introduce in this lesson follow that pattern. And I'll try to use some example sentences with different subjects as well. So let's look. I've been thinking. All right, the first sentence is I've been thinking. I've been thinking. So something that you started thinking about in the past and you have continued. You maybe started thinking, I don't know, 2 weeks ago and you thought about a week ago and you thought about a few days ago. And now you're thinking about it. You can say, I've been thinking. You can say, I've been thinking, ... and continue to a new idea. You can say, I've been thinking about, and then you continue with the gerund form of the verb. So like, I've been thinking about changing jobs. I've been thinking about moving to a new apartment. We use the gerund form there, moving. So another example sentence, I've been thinking about starting a new hobby. I've been worrying. The next pattern is I've been worrying. I've been worrying. So something that you thought about in the past that caused you to worry, and you continued to worry about until the present time. I've been worrying about blah, blah, blah. I've been worrying about my brother. My mother says she's been worrying about me for a long time, or my boss has been worrying about this project. So always this has been or have been plus worrying about something. I've been worrying about something. Okay, in another sentence, I've been worrying about you all night. I've been wanting. And the next pattern is I've been wanting. I've been wanting. So wanting means something you started, like you wanted it for the first time in the past. Like I think I used this in a live video. I said I've been wanting to see that movie. Like I've been wanting to see the new Blade Runner, I think I said. That means I started wanting, for the first time I thought I wanted to do that, or I wanted some object. And I didn't get it at that time. Maybe the next day, and the day after that, and the day after that, I still wanted that thing. So I can say, I've been wanting that. I've been wanting that. So for example, in my sentence, I've been wanting to see that movie for a long time. Or he's been wanting to take a day off for ages. Or they've been wanting to travel the world for 50 years. Something like that. In another example sentence, yeah, I've been wanting to see that movie. I've been studying. The next pattern is I've been studying. I've been studying. This is a pattern that's probably very useful for many people who are watching. I've been studying means you started studying in the past and you continued to study for a number of years or a number of months or maybe just a few days. I don't know. I've been studying. So this is a pattern that you can use. Actually, all of these are patterns that you can use with for and since before the period of time or the length of time. So for example, I've been studying English for 3 years, or she's been studying accounting her whole life, or they've been studying gardening for the last 6 months, for example. So talking about a thing you have studied for a period of time, you can refer to that continuously with the progressive form or the continuous form. In another sentence, I've been studying English for a year. I've been hearing about. The next pattern is I've been hearing about. I've been hearing about. This is useful for gossip or for news. Maybe you can use it to talk about like a new restaurant or a new bar or just something interesting, some interesting little piece of information you continue to hear about. So you heard it once, or maybe you heard about it again a few days later. Something that here and there you heard about a few times. You can say, I've been hearing about blah, blah, blah. Like, I've been hearing about this new restaurant that opened recently. Or I've been hearing about the upcoming policy changes at work. Or he said he's been hearing about some bad weather that's going to come this summer. I don't know. But something that you've been hearing, something that you heard news about in the past multiple times. You can say, I've been hearing about blah, blah, blah. In a sentence, I've been hearing about our new manager. Ooh, little gossip. Okay. I've been listening to. Next one is also maybe useful for your studies, but I think useful for your hobbies. It's I've been listening to. I've been listening to. So something that began in the past, continues to the present, that happened regularly. So this can mean like music that you like, or maybe a news program or a podcast that you enjoy. Or maybe, I don't know, even this video series, for example. So I've been listening to that artist for many years, or he's been listening to his boss's advice for the whole day, or she's been listening to her mother shout for 3 hours. I don't know, but these are things we have listened to continuously for a period of time. I've been listening to something else continuously. In another sentence, I've been listening to a lot of jazz lately. I've been talking a lot with. The next pattern is I've been talking a lot with. I've been talking a lot with, or you can say I've been talking a lot to is also all right. But I've been talking a lot with means over an extended period of time, or maybe recently. There's a person or a group of people or an organization, perhaps, you have had many conversations with. You've spoken to that person many times. So, for example, he's been talking a lot with a counselor recently, or they've been talking a lot with upper management about the future of the company, for example. Or I've been talking a lot with my neighbors lately. It's been great. So, talking a lot with is another pattern that's useful in this grammar point, I think. In a sentence, I've been talking a lot with my parents this month. I've been living. Next one is a commonly confused one, I think. The next one is I've been living. I've been living here, or I've been living in city or country name for or since blah, blah, blah. So I've been living in the USA for 87 years. Or she's been living in that city for 3 months. Or they've been living here for almost a year, I think. So been living, a lot of people say, like, can I say, like, I have lived here for 1 year, or I've been living here for 1 year? They mean the same thing, really. Like, especially with the verb to live. Like, I have lived here for 5 years, and I've been living here for 5 years. To me, they're very similar in meaning. I think I've been living here. I feel both, they're both perfectly acceptable, really. I would use either. Like, I would say, I've lived here for 5 years, or I've been living here for 5 years. I suppose the continuous nature is a little bit stronger with the continuous tense, but they really communicate the same idea. So you can use either to talk about the place where you live, really. So one more example. I've been living in Bangkok for 3 years now. I've been working. Next pattern is I've been working. I've been working. This is one you can use to talk about your job or perhaps a project that you're doing. So you can use I've been working at a certain company. You can say I've been working as plus a job title with your extra information. So I've been working as a teacher for 18 years, or I've been working as a doctor for 3 months, for example. You can say I've been working on plus a project name, like I've been working on a new promotion, or I've been working on a new book, for example. So depending on the preposition that you use after this expression, you can change sort of the information you want to present. So to recap, I've been working in ABC company for 5 years. I've been working as a doctor for 5 years, or I've been working on a new project for 5 years. So these are a few patterns that you can use with the verb working here to talk about a continuous thing in your past and your present as well. So, in another sentence, I've been working in this department for 6 months. I've been planning. The last one is I've been planning. I've been planning. So this refers to perhaps a future plan, something that you started thinking about in the past, but it has not happened yet, maybe. Something that you are planning even now, but you started planning it in the past. So this is something, maybe it has not happened yet, it's going to happen in the future. So I've been planning a birthday party for my friend, or he's been planning to find a new job, or they've been planning a month-long vacation, for example. So something, it hasn't happened yet, but it's going to happen in the future. We can use I've been planning, they've been planning, she's been planning. In another sentence, I've been planning a barbecue all summer. So those are 10 past perfect continuous patterns. I hope that those are helpful. Those are a few examples of some ways that we use, at least in American English, the past perfect continuous or the past perfect progressive tense. So I hope that these are helpful for you as you kind of build some sentences and kind of get a feel for the way that some of these verbs are commonly used. Of course, if there's another pattern that you like to use with the continuous or the progressive tense, please let us know in the comment section. If you liked the video, please make sure to give it a thumbs up. It helps us a lot. Check us out at EnglishClass101.com for some extra resources. And of course, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you very much for watching this episode of Top Words, and I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Top Words. My name is Alicia, and today we're going to talk about 10 expressions for business emails. Let's go. To whom it may concern. The first expression is to whom it may concern. To whom it may concern. This is a very classic email opener, so it may sound a little bit old-fashioned to some people, but this is used when you don't know the name of the person you are writing to. So perhaps you're writing to a company, or you're writing just to a general inquiries email account, and you don't know who to address your letter to, you don't know anything about who is going to receive the email, but you can use the expression to whom it may concern, meaning, in other words, this message is for the person related to this inquiry. I don't know who they are, but this is a polite way to begin that message, to whom it may concern. In a sentence, to whom it may concern at ABC Company, I'm writing today regarding. The next expression is, I'm writing today regarding. I'm writing today regarding. This is a formal way of saying, I'm writing today about blah, blah, blah. So you can introduce the purpose of your message with this expression. I'm writing today regarding an inquiry I have, or I'm writing today regarding a problem with my order. I'm writing today regarding a recent video that I saw on your channel, for example. So in another sentence, I'm writing today regarding an order we received recently. Would you be available? The next expression is, would you be available? Would you be available? Would you be available is an expression that we use to ask about someone else's schedule. So we want to know what their schedule is like at a specific day or at a specific time. Usually for like a meeting or perhaps for a conference call, something that you need to do with that person. We use, would you be available? It's a more polite way to ask. Instead of, are you available? Would you be available sounds a little more formal. So like, would you be available for a meeting next week? Or would you be available for lunch tomorrow? These are much more polite ways to ask for someone's schedule than just, can you meet me? So try to use, would you be available in your business emails? In a sentence, would you be available for a meeting next week? Would it be possible for you to? The next expression is, would it be possible for you to? So would it be possible for you to is a very polite way to make a request. So you want something from the other person, but you need to request that politely. So would it be possible for you to send me that file? Or would it be possible for you to meet me tomorrow? Would it be possible for you to call our clients in the morning, for example? So you're making a request of the other person, something you want them to give you, something you want them to do for you. Would it be possible for you to? Verb phrase. All right, in another example sentence, would it be possible for you to send the updated files? We'd like to request. The next expression is, we'd like to request. We'd like to request. So here you can see I'm using this we'd like. So not we like, but we'd like, meaning we would like. So this is a formal request. We would like to request blah, blah, blah. In this case, I've used we'd just for an example, but we can use I'd like to request too. If you're writing on behalf of your company or on behalf of your department, for example, you can change I'd to we'd if you like. So we'd like to request a new copy machine, for example, or we'd like to request a maintenance person come visit us, for example. So when you're making a request, this is another way to do that. We'd like to request blah, blah, blah. So it's a polite but direct request that you can make. In another example sentence, we'd like to request your attendance at the seminar next month. We'd like to inquire about. The next expression is we'd like to inquire about. We'd like to inquire about. This is when you have a question. This is something that you can use if you have a question about a specific detail or something that you just don't know the answer to. So this is an expression that you can use to ask a question. So we'd like to inquire about your menu, or we'd like to inquire about your prices. We'd like to inquire about your plans for the next quarter, for example. So you can use this just to introduce a question in your email. In another example sentence, we'd like to inquire about a recent purchase. If you could be so kind as to. The next one is, if you could be so kind as to. This is an interesting one. If you could be so kind as to, verb phrase. If you could be so kind as to send me that file, or if you could be so kind as to return my call at your earliest convenience. This is quite a polite request. If you could be so kind, meaning kind to me, as to. So in other words, you are so kind, you will do this thing for me. This is sort of the level of formality of this expression. So if you could be so kind as to order me a pizza. So I don't know. So of course that's a very casual situation. But if you are trying to make a formal, polite request, you could try using this, especially towards the end of an email. I feel this is good. So in an example sentence, you could say, if you could be so kind as to email the data, it would be greatly appreciated. I look forward to hearing from you again soon. So the next expression is, I look forward to hearing from you soon, or I look forward to hearing from you again soon. So you can include again if you are already in touch with that person, if you are already contacting that person. You can drop again if you are not in touch with that person, if you're not contacting that person. So this just means you are expecting a response, and maybe you are happily expecting that response. I look forward to hearing from you. I look forward to receiving a response from you soon, is what this means. This is very nice at the end of your business email. In a sentence, thank you for all your help. I look forward to hearing from you again soon. I look forward to working with you. The next expression is, I look forward to working with you. I look forward to working with you. This is an expression that you can use when you are introduced to a new colleague or a new client, or you have just begun a new partnership with someone. This is a very positive expression that you can use to end an email as well. I look forward to working with you. Very positive, very nice. It's a good way to begin a business relationship, I feel. In a sentence, I look forward to working with you on this project. Sincerely, warm regards, best. The last one is actually a few different ways to close your message, or a few different ways to end your message. So some of my favorites are sincerely, warm regards, and best. Sincerely is typically very good for more polite situations, or where you don't know the other person well. Warm regards is maybe for a kind of friendly, yet business, maybe like a business casual email. You could use warm regards. So it has kind of like a warm feeling, like you recognize that there's a good relationship and you want to express that. You can use warm regards. Another one you can use is best. So best means like my best, or like all the best, like I wish you the best, sort of, but in one expression. I like to use best, actually. So best Alicia, for example, or sincerely Alicia, or sincerely Meg, whoever you are. So you can choose the level of formality. So sincerely is quite polite if you don't know the other party. Warm regards is kind of a business casual feeling. Best is fairly casual, but just straightforward and direct. So, in an example, sincerely, Alicia. That's everything for this episode. So those are 10 expressions for business emails. I hope that those were useful for you, and I hope that you can use them right away in your business emails and in other polite email and writing related situations. If you have any questions, or if there's another expression that you like to use in your business emails, please let us know in the comments. If you liked the video, of course, as always, please give us a thumbs up. Subscribe to us as well if you haven't already, and you can check us out at EnglishClass101.com for more good resources too. Thank you very much for watching this episode of Top Words, and I will see you again soon. Sincerely, Alicia. Bye-bye. Very professional. That's our job, to be very professional on the internet. That's recorded. Okay. Business Emails, the Musical by EnglishClass101.com. To whom it may concern, I'm writing today regarding a request. I'm gonna stop. Hi everybody, welcome back to Top Words. My name is Alicia, and today we're going to talk about 10 words for the airport. Let's go. Check in. The first word is check in. Check in. So to check in, this is a verb, a phrasal verb. To check in means to check into your flight, to essentially say, yes, I am here, I am going to get on the plane, I am checking in. We can use the same expression for hotels, actually, to check into your hotel, to check into your flight. So to check in means to confirm you are going to fly on the plane. In a sentence, check-in for international flights is 2 hours before departure. Immigration. The next word is immigration. Immigration. So this is passport check, essentially. When you are traveling internationally, you may need to, well, you do need to, show your passport to the immigration staff. So they are checking the people who are coming and going in and out of the country. That process, that area of the airport, that area maybe of border control as well, is called immigration. We call it immigration. In a sentence, make sure your passport is ready when you go to immigration. Customs. The next word is customs. Customs is the next word. So customs is the part of the airport or the international travel experience where the items you have purchased or the items you are bringing into the country, maybe the amount of cash that you have on you, or maybe any dangerous items, or any kind of like specific items that you need to declare, that you need to announce you are carrying, those things are checked. That's the place in the airport where that sort of thing is covered. So there's usually a form that you fill out when you enter a country, and it'll say, do you need to declare anything? So to declare means to announce. There's something you are carrying, or something you need to explain to the people who are in the country, to the border staff, the customs staff in the country you are going to. So that whole area of the airport, of the travel experience, is called customs. Customs. In a sentence, do you have anything to declare with customs? Departure gate. The next expression is departure gate. Departure gate. So depart means to leave a place. Your departure gate is the gate, the airport gate from which you leave the airport, your departure gate. The place your plane leaves from in the airport is called your departure gate, your departure gate. All right, in a sentence, my departure gate is A5. Baggage claim. Okay, next one. The next expression is baggage claim. Baggage claim. So bag or baggage, meaning your luggage, your suitcase, and claim. So claim means you say, that's mine. In other words, to claim something, to retrieve something, to pick up something. Baggage claim, suitcase pickup is essentially what it means. Baggage claim. So you might hear baggage claim carousel. So carousel is that machine that goes around in a circle and it moves bags, it moves suitcases. That's a baggage claim carousel in the airport. Baggage claim. In a sentence, pick up your luggage at baggage claim carousel number 3. Currency exchange. The next expression is currency exchange. Currency exchange. So currency means type of money, currency. So yen is a currency, dollar is a currency, euro is a currency, type of money, and exchange. So for example, if you need to change yen to euro, you do it at a currency exchange location where you can change your money to a different type of money. So if the country that you're coming from has different money than the country you're going to, which is likely the case, you may need to change your money at a currency exchange location. So, in a sentence, I need to stop at a currency exchange desk. Boarding pass. The next expression is boarding pass. Boarding pass. Your boarding pass is a piece of paper, or now I suppose we have them digitally on our smartphones. A boarding pass is the documentation, digital or physical, that shows the flight attendants, that shows the staff from the airline that you are allowed to get on the plane, that you have a seat. You are allowed to board the plane. So boarding means getting on the plane, and pass means permission. So boarding permission, essentially. Allowed to get on the plane, paperwork is what you could think of this as. So a boarding pass, very important, of course. In a sentence, do you have your boarding pass? Seat assignment. The next expression is seat assignment. Seat assignment. So seat meaning the place where you sit, your chair. Your assignment then is the place that the airline has chosen for you to sit. The seat the airline has chosen for you is your seat assignment. Or maybe you chose your seat assignment, but that's the place you are supposed to sit on the airplane. In a sentence, I'd like to change my seat assignment. First class, business class. So the next expression is first class or business class. So these refer to a couple different levels of service on an airplane. The basic level of service is called economy service, or we also call it coach. So coach or economy is the basic level. After that would be business class, which usually has slightly larger seats, maybe a little bit more delicious food, maybe more drink options, for example. And then there's first class, which is the highest level of service and is also the most expensive level service. So first class, business class, economy class. These are the three levels on an airplane. So it's typically considered a nice experience to fly business class or first class somewhere. In a sentence, are there any seats available in business class? Layover. The next word is layover. Layover. A layover is a period of time between two flights, presumably at an airport. So if you are flying, for example, from from Singapore to London, maybe you have to transfer at an airport. You fly from Singapore to, Los Angeles maybe, or Chicago maybe, and then you have to wait there for your next flight to London, your connecting flight. That period of time between your two flights is called a layover. So typically people want to have a short layover, a fairly short layover, so they have time to transfer to their next flight, or maybe they want to take a break from being on a plane. So a layover, typically a short layover, is good. Typically long layovers are bad, but you might have a cheap flight if that's the case. So a layover is the period of time between two flights. In a sentence, I have a long layover in Bangkok. So, those are 10 words for the airport. I hope that was useful for you. Of course, if there are some other words or other phrases that you have heard or that you find useful, please let us know in the comments. If you liked the video, give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and check us out at EnglishClass101.com for some other good resources. Thank you very much for watching this episode of Top Words, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye. In a sentence, pick up your luggage at Bagacel Claim. Bagacel Claim. Made myself laugh. That's what I'm going to call it from now on. Bagacel Claim 7. Oh my God. Pick up your luggage at Baggage Claim Karen's. Sorry, I need a second. Hi everybody, welcome back to Top Words. My name is Alicia, and today we're going to talk about 10 words to express appreciation. So let's go. Thanks. The first word is thanks. Thanks. Thanks is a very casual, very common way to express your appreciation for someone. It's so easy to use. Thanks. Thanks. So usually for something small, someone else has done for you or has given to you. Just say thanks. So in a sentence, thanks, that really helped. Thank you. The next expression is thank you. Thank you. So thank you is like a step above thanks. So thanks is the most casual one, I think. And then thank you is like the next step up. Thank you. Thank you. So you can again use this in casual situations and in more polite situations. If you're ever unsure, if you ever don't know, you can just use thank you as your default, as your basic greeting. Thank you. In a sentence, thank you for the book. Thanks a lot. The next expression is thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. So with this expression, please make sure to use thanks a lot. We don't say thank you a lot. We say thanks a lot. So please be careful with that. Thanks a lot. So this is a little bit casual. We use thanks here, but to express a little bit more, a little bit of a stronger appreciation, you can say thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. In a sentence, thanks a lot for all your help this week. I really appreciate it. The next expression is I really appreciate it. I really appreciate it. So this expression is a little bit more formal. I really appreciate it. So we're using the word appreciate, which means to express your appreciation, to express a thankful feeling, a grateful feeling. So to say I really appreciate it expresses a strong feeling. So I really appreciate it is for a slightly more formal, a slightly more polite situation. In a sentence, thank you for the support. I really appreciate it. You're a lifesaver. The next expression is you're a lifesaver. You're a lifesaver. So a lifesaver is, this word actually refers to a piece of equipment used to save people who are drowning. So there's like a circle, an inflatable or like a floating circle that people can catch if they're like drowning or having trouble swimming in the ocean. And a lifeguard can throw them a lifesaver, something, it's a round thing that floats so the person can hold on to it or put it around their body, but that's called a lifesaver. In this expression, you're a lifesaver means, in other words, you saved my life, similar to the way that a lifesaver would save like a person drowning. So you're a lifesaver means you really helped me a lot. You saved me from something terrible. You did something really great for me. You're a lifesaver. So in a sentence, you found my keys? You're a lifesaver. I'm so grateful. The next expression is I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. So this is one that you can use for more serious situations. So maybe you receive a nice gift, or maybe you get a special honor, or maybe you receive some kind of recognition in a more formal situation. You can say, I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. In a sentence, your recommendation got me into college. I'm so grateful. Your kindness is greatly appreciated. Your kindness is greatly appreciated. Your kindness is greatly appreciated. This is one you might use to finish a formal letter. You could use this perhaps to finish a formal speech, I suppose, too, or to end a more formal discussion, I suppose. But your kindness is greatly appreciated kind of implies that you want to receive something from the other person, or they have given you something. So maybe if you receive a donation of money, for example, or if you receive a lot of like volunteer support, you could say your kindness is greatly appreciated. So it's a formal and sincere expression. In a sentence, thank you for the donation. Your kindness is greatly appreciated. You rock. The next expression is you rock. You rock. So this is a very casual expression. It means like you rock. This rock means like you are awesome. You are great. You are cool. I think you're awesome, amazing, fantastic. So it's a very casual expression. It doesn't directly mean thank you, but rather you are awesome. I think you are great. So it's a compliment. We can use this expression as a compliment when someone helps you or someone does something for you that's great. You really are happy about that and you appreciate that. You can say you rock, or you can substitute with any of the other words I just said. You're great. So we can use you rock, or you're amazing, or you are awesome. Those are pretty good casual expressions to tell somebody you think they're great, and to give them a compliment that means thank you. So in a sentence, you already finished the paperwork? You rock. Thank you so much. The next expression is thank you so much. Thank you so much. So this sounds like a very positive yet casual and strong way to express your appreciation. To emphasize it even more, you can draw out that so sound. Thank you so much. If it's too much of an extension though, it will sound insincere. If you say, thank you so much, it doesn't sound so sincere. So kind of think about how long you want to make that sound. Thank you so much is pretty good. So you can express casual, strong appreciation with this phrase. Thank you so much. In a sentence! All right. This birthday cake is amazing. Thank you so much. Cheers. The next expression is cheers. Cheers. So I included cheers on this list because it's a word that you might hear in British and perhaps Australian English. It's a word that means sort of like thank you in advance for something. We don't use this word very much in American English, in US English. In US English, we typically use cheers when we're enjoying drinks with somebody. We touch glasses together and say cheers when we're drinking. But in other types of English, you might hear cheers used to mean thank you in advance for something. So if we agree to maybe do a project together, or we agree to make to plan a birthday party together, and you say, okay, well, I'll book the restaurant. And I say, okay, I'll send invitations to everybody. Cheers. It means thank you in advance for what you are going to do for me. Thank you in advance. So cheers is a nice casual way to say thank you in advance for something. In a sentence, cheers, see you at the event tomorrow. So those are 10 words to express your appreciation. I hope that those were useful for you. If there's another word that you've heard of or another expression, let us know in the comments for sure. Thank you very much for watching this episode of Top Words. Give us a thumbs up if you liked the video. Check us out at EnglishClass101.com for other resources and make sure to subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. I will see you again in the next episode soon. Bye-bye. In a sentence, in an express, I tried to say expression and sentence the same. That one didn't work. Before it was bagatelle, now it is exprentence. Yeah.
You're making new words.
I am. This is how a new language is born, surely. All right. You are so good at sitting, Meg. And other things. I should have known that it was coming. I was like, oh, there it is. I haven't used that in a while. That's our running joke. Giving each other compliments for everyday actions, like sitting. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Know Your Verbs. My name is Alicia, and in this lesson, we're going to talk about the verb play. Let's begin. Let's begin with the basic definition of this verb. It's to engage in a game, sport, or activity. Examples. We play soccer every week. Let's play a board game. Now let's look at the conjugations for this verb. Present, play, plays. Past, played. Past participle, played. Progressive, playing. Okay, so now let's talk about some additional meanings for this verb. The first additional meaning, to spend time doing something fun. This use of the verb is typically used among children. We use this for children and to talk about the activities of children. Examples. We used to play with the kids in our neighborhood. Do you like playing with dolls? In these example sentences, we're talking about the activities that kids do. Things that kids do like playing with their friends, playing with dolls, playing with trucks, playing with cars. So when we use playing with, it's like there's some kind of enjoyable activity going on, and it has a very youthful sound to it. It sounds like something kids do. A mistake that I hear adult learners make sometimes is they say, I played with my friends last weekend. As adults, we don't use the verb play. We'll use it to refer to a sport or to a game, but we do not use it to talk about spending time with friends. As adults, especially American English speakers, we can say, for example, I hung out with my friends last weekend, or I got together with my friends last weekend. That's fine. We do not use the verb play as adults. For kids, great. I played with my friends when I was little. I played with dolls when I was little. Okay, let's go on to the second additional meaning. The second additional meaning is to perform as a character. This can mean theater, it can mean movies, it can mean any kind of performance. Examples. Keanu Reeves played Neo in the Matrix series. I want to play a dramatic role someday. So here, in my first example sentence, I've got Keanu Reeves as my example. Keanu Reeves played Neo in the Matrix series. So he performed in the role of Neo. He performed in the role of is shortened to played there. In the second example sentence, I want to play a dramatic role someday. Play means perform in. I want to perform in a dramatic role someday. So this means perform, to play. Okay, let's move on to the third additional meaning for this verb. It is to pretend to be a certain way or to pretend to exhibit a certain behavior. A key here is pretending. Examples. He's playing dumb. He knows the answer. I taught my dog to play dead. Okay, so here we see play. In the first example sentence, he's playing dumb. That means he's pretending not to know. That's what this sentence means. He's playing dumb. Playing dumb is quite a common phrase. Like, don't play dumb means don't pretend not to know something. In the second example sentence, I taught my dog to play dead means I taught my dog to pretend to be dead, or I taught my dog to act like he or she is dead. So to play means to pretend something. So the fourth additional meaning here is to perform music, Examples. The DJ played a lot of great music last night. Have you ever played this on piano? So this is quite simple. It just means to perform music, like you cause music to be heard by other people. So a DJ can play music through a sound system. of course, we can play instruments like playing the piano or playing the harp, playing the flute. So we can use play to mean performing music or like sharing music some way. All right, let's talk about some variations for this verb now. There are a lot of variations for the verb play. These are just a few that I'm going to introduce. Of course, if you want to know more, I highly recommend checking a dictionary. Okay, let's take a look at the first one for this lesson. To play something by ear. To play something by ear. This means to do something without a plan. It means to make decisions in the moment. So, examples. We have no plans for the day. We're just going to play it by ear. I don't want to plan my travels too much. I prefer to play things by ear. So both of these use the expression play it by ear, play things by ear, meaning I don't want to make plans. Like I just want to see how things go. If things are feeling one way, I'll do that. If things are feeling another way, I'll make a different decision. So why do we say playing by ear? Imagine then, if you play an instrument, maybe this is useful for you, but imagine you're trying to play the piano and you're trying to play a melody. You're trying to find a melody. You don't know it, but you listen to each note as you play, and gradually you can find the melody you're looking for. So we call that playing, physically playing, performing a song by ear. So using your ear to listen to the melody and find the correct melody that way. We use the same idea for our activities, so playing an activity by ear. According to our feelings, we make decisions for the next step, to play it by ear. Let's go on to the second variation for this verb. It is to play with fire. To play with fire means to do something dangerous or to do something that's a bit risky, for example. Examples. You want to confront the CEO about her mistakes? Don't play with fire. He's trying to date 3 people at the same time. He's playing with fire. Okay, so both of these share maybe a risky or possibly dangerous situation. In the first example sentence, confronting a CEO about her mistakes, that sounds like it could be dangerous for someone, potentially, if they don't want to lose their job at the company. So the speaker recommends, don't play with fire. In other words, don't do something risky, don't do something dangerous, suggesting that the previous point, confronting the CEO, is a risky or dangerous behavior. Don't do that. In the second example sentence, we see it in the progressive tense. He's playing with fire by dating 3 women at the same time. So that could be risky. It could be dangerous. He could cause fights. He could cause problems. We don't know. But we're saying he's playing with fire. He's doing something that is risky or dangerous. Okay, let's move on to the third variation of this verb. The third variation is to play up. To play up. This is kind of a slang expression. This is an expression that means to make something seem better than it actually is. So maybe the true level is here, but when we play something up, we exaggerate it. We improve it, but only with our words. It's not truly here. It's still here. We make it sound better. Examples. My parents always play up my achievements. Be careful not to play yourself up on your resume. It might cause problems in the future. So here we see play up being used to describe someone's life or someone's activities being exaggerated. So in the first example, my parents always play up my achievements. It means my parents make my achievements sound better than they actually are. So maybe I had some nice achievement, great, but perhaps my parents make it sound like the achievement is even better, even bigger than it truly is, like as parents do, fine. But to play up something means it's not truly at that level. In the second example sentence, be careful not to play yourself up on your resume. It means don't make yourself sound better than you actually are on your resume because it might cause problems in the future. So to play up means to improve the apparent quality or the apparent value of something, but it's not true. Okay, so those are a few new ways to use the word play, I hope. Of course, as I said, there are lots and lots of ways to use this word, so I highly recommend checking a dictionary to see all of them. Of course, if you have any questions or comments, or if you want to practice using this verb, please feel free to do so in the comment section of this video. Of course, also, if you like the video, don't forget to give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and check us out at EnglishClass101.com. Thanks very much for watching this episode of Know Your Verbs, and we'll see you again next time. Bye-bye! Hi everybody, my name is Alicia. Welcome back to Know Your Verbs. In this episode, we're going to talk about the verb use. Let's get started. The basic definition of the verb to use is to put something to a purpose. Examples. We used our iPhones to make a video. Use your time wisely. Let's look at the conjugations for this verb. Present, use, uses. Past, used. Past participle, used. Progressive, using. Let's talk about some additional meanings for this verb. The first additional meaning for the verb use is to consume. To consume, like for example, eating or taking all of something and applying it so that all of it goes away. You're consuming it somehow. Examples. You used all the butter. We've used almost all the toilet paper. So here, these are items which we can gradually get rid of. Like in the case of butter, in the first example, we eat butter, and so we consume it by eating, so it goes away. Toilet paper we use for cleaning purposes, and so gradually it goes away. We consume it, but we use the word use instead. Okay, let's go on to the second additional meaning. The second one is a slang term, which means to take drugs. To take drugs as like a habit. Examples of this use. I heard he's using again. They haven't used in years. So here, you don't hear any drug. There's no word drug being used or no specific drug name, but we use the verb use to refer to taking drugs. So when someone says he's using again, it means he's using drugs again. But saying drugs is quite direct and kind of strong, so instead we say using alone. We don't specifically say what he is using, but it refers to drugs. So this use of the word use refers to drug use, actually. Okay, the third additional meaning of the verb use is to exploit a person or to exploit a situation. Exploit means to take advantage of someone or to take advantage of a situation. Examples. He's just using you for money. Don't let them use you for your ideas. So in both of these example sentences, use refers to someone being taken advantage of for a different reason. So in the first example sentence, he's just using you for money. It means the he in the situation is taking advantage of the listener because he wants money from the listener. So he's taking advantage of the listener and getting money. In the second example sentence, it's the person's ideas. So one person has a lot of ideas and a group of people are taking those ideas from the other person. So taking advantage of someone or taking advantage of a situation. It has a negative image. Let's move on to some variations of this verb. The first expression is could use something. Could use something. It means that that thing might be useful in some way, might be a good idea in some way. Examples. I could use a break. You look like you could use a vacation. So these just mean that the item talked about seems like it could be useful or might be useful. So in the first example sentence, I could use a break. We see could. This is actually used in the second example sentence too. I could use a break, meaning it would be possible for me to use a break. Like that seems like a good idea to me right now. In the second example sentence, you look like you could use a vacation. It means it seems, based on your appearance, you need a vacation. It would be useful for you to have a vacation. So could use something means it seems like that thing might be good for you. So this expression is used in positive statements. You look like you could use something. It means that thing might be useful for you or it might be a good idea for you. Okay. Let's move along to the second variation, which is to use up. To use up. So this means to consume completely. To consume completely. In the alternate definitions for this verb, we saw it means to consume. To use means to consume. But to consume completely, we use the word use up to refer to this. Examples. She used up all of her sunblock at the beach. We used up all the wood for the fire. So here you'll see in both of these example sentences, I included the word all. She used up all of her sunblock at the beach. We used up all the wood for the fire. So all shows everything, completely consuming that thing. So when you want to talk about using everything, you can use up, use up. She used up all her sunblock. We used up all the wood. You can also exchange verbs here. Like, for example, we drank up all the wine, or we drank up all the beer, or we ate up all the pizza. You can use it in a couple other situations relating to consumption too. But use up is used for like resources of some kind. So those are a few hopefully new ways for you to use the word use. I hope that you found something new. Of course, if you know a different way to use this verb, or if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to let us know in the comment section of this video. Of course, don't forget to give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and come and check us out at EnglishClass101.com for other things you can use for your English studies. Thanks very much for watching this episode of Know Your Verbs, and we'll see you again soon. Bye-bye. Oh. Use the force.
Oh.
Use the force.
Use the force.
That's obviously the best example sentence from this lesson. When learning a new language, we sometimes have a hard time with things like procrastination, discouragement, or failure. But don't panic. With a good strategy, you'll be able to overcome these difficulties. Are you ready to discover the 4 habits of successful learners? Number 1, optimize your time. When learning a language, it's important to dedicate time to your studies regularly, even if sometimes it's difficult. You're busy with school, work, family, or friends, but you can spread out your learning throughout the day. Study whenever you have small gaps of time in your busy schedule. This can be when you're on the metro, on your lunch break, or while you're exercising. Our podcast learning format fits perfectly into your tight schedule. Number 2, consistency with your chosen method. There are a lot of options when it comes to courses and learning materials. Switching from one method to another can confuse you and disrupt your progress. Focusing on one learning method will make a difference. Our method has been created and optimized by real teachers, so you can stick to it with confidence. Number 3, use your language background. Many languages share some commonalities. You can find words that look or sound similar, or even share the same grammar structure. A little bit of language background will give you an edge while learning. Number 4, study continuously. People are excited when they start learning a new language. The enthusiasm usually lasts until the first roadblock. This can lead to discouragement and procrastination. But don't burn yourself out. Learning a language is a marathon, not a sprint. Don't try to learn it all at once. Break things down into more digestible chunks. Learning step by step might feel slow, but it's an efficient way to learn a language. With patience, motivation, and good resources, you'll master the language. Do you want to crush your language learning goals and overcome setbacks on the road to mastering a new language? In this video, you'll discover why learning goals are so vital to learning a new language and overcoming the inevitable setbacks you'll encounter on your way to mastering the language. Here are some useful strategies you can use to crush your goals. First, switch to strategic goals rather than general internal motivation. People are motivated to learn a second language for any number of reasons, including personal enrichment, better career opportunities, or even meeting new people. However, unlike simpler goals, which may only take a week or 2 to complete, learning a new language takes time, and there will be occasional setbacks and failures. So to reach your overall objective of mastering a new language, you need to learn how to motivate yourself and stay focused on the bigger picture. To do so, it is vital to set specific strategic goals with an action plan. Second, reasons learning goals are vital to success. Learning an entire language well enough to carry on full conversations with native speakers is certainly a goal. But with this as your primary objective, there's a long period of time between the time the goal is set and when it can be realistically attained. The problem is that a failure to achieve an objective creates stress that can build until you either reach the learning goal or quit. The solution is to set more realistic strategic learning objectives that are easier to attain but still keep you on track to learning. Here are some examples of strategic learning objectives that you might set on your way to mastering a new language. Study for 10 minutes every day. Complete 1 lesson or chapter each week. Learn 20 new words each week. Or even learn 1 new word each day. The key here is that your learning goals and objectives need to be very concise, attainable, and relevant to your overall objective. As long as you can see progress towards your learning goal, your stress levels will be lower and you're far more likely to succeed. Next, to learn a new language or virtually any new skill, you'll need to make adjustments to your routine. Simply telling yourself that you want to be able to speak fluently probably won't force you to alter your daily or weekly routines. But when your strategic goals include learning a new word each day or a lesson every week, you're forced to alter your schedule to reach the goal or risk certain failure. Although altering your schedule may cause some minor degree of stress at first, the added motivation you get from achieving goals quickly eliminates any initial discomfort. And the more strategic goals you complete each day or week, the faster you can achieve your larger goal of mastering the language. The key to achieving goals includes learning how to deal with the inevitable setbacks and failures. The great part about setting smaller, attainable, strategic learning goals is that you can occasionally miss your objective, but quickly make up for it. So if you can't finish a lesson one week, it's entirely possible to either learn the lesson the following week or even do 2 lessons to make up for the initial failure. The point is that failing to achieve smaller, strategic learning goals won't kill your motivation or derail your overall objectives. There are many ways to crush your language learning goals using our program. First, check out our custom learning paths, which are based on your specific goals. Learning paths are designed to help you reach your specific learning objectives by providing you with step-by-step strategic goals. So imagine you're about to travel and just wanted to learn enough essential language to navigate any potential emergency situations you might encounter. Our language learning program has created a custom learning path for your goal that includes just 10 lessons or strategic learning objectives. Once you complete the 10 lessons, your larger overall learning goal is complete. Learning paths are one of the most powerful features at our website and help you quickly and efficiently achieve larger learning goals and objectives. For Premium and Premium Plus members, our website offers more than 20 advanced learning tools to make it easier than ever to reach and achieve your goals. These include teacher feedback and comments for every lesson, full lesson transcripts and review tracks, voice recording tools to perfect your pronunciation, lesson review quizzes, and much more. Our language learning program makes it easier and more convenient to achieve your smaller strategic goals so you can quickly reach your larger overall objectives in less time and with less stress. Without setting realistic and attainable learning objectives and goals, your larger dream of mastering a new language might never be realized. Specifically, strategic objectives help to reduce stress, adjust your daily routine, and make it far easier to deal with the inevitable setbacks on your way to mastering a language. We've made it simple and easy for you to set and attain your strategic goals so you can successfully reach the larger goal of mastering your target language. Today's topic is how to double your speaking time in your target language. Today, you're going to learn 1. Why it's hard for many learners to make progress with their speaking skills, and 2. How you can double your speaking time. If you've always wanted to speak more of your target language, then this episode is for you. But first, listen up. Here are this month's new lessons and resources. First, the Movies and TV Shows Cheat Sheet. Want to be able to talk about your favorite shows and films? This conversation cheat sheet teaches you 50+ words and phrases to help you do just that. Second, the Ultimate Listening Video Master Course. How are your listening skills? Sharpen them up with this video master course. Download it right now. Third, 20 phrases you'll need for the doctor. Learn how to schedule appointments, talk about your symptoms, and much more. This 1-minute lesson gives you 20 must-know phrases. Fourth, want to be able to handle everyday tasks in your target language, like sending and receiving mail? Then this next 1-minute lesson is for you. You'll learn most of the words and phrases you'll need at the post office. Fifth, learn how to impress native speakers with this 1-minute lesson. Learn how to give natural compliments like "the food is delicious" and "this is a beautiful country." To get your free resources, click the link in the description below right now. They're yours to keep forever. Okay, let's jump into today's topic. How to double your speaking time in your target language. Okay, let's get into part 1. Why is real speaking progress so hard to make? Let's say you've studied the language for a few months, and now you finally have a chance to practice speaking. Maybe you have a tutor or a native speaker friend who is willing to practice with you. You start talking, and your friend helps you improve bits and pieces of your speaking, like pronunciation and grammar. And maybe you can talk about your day and common topics. But without proper preparation on both sides, the person learning and the person teaching, that's it. You're limited to what you can talk about. You don't know enough of the language to keep going, and they aren't prepared to help you speak more of the language. So if you try to have an open-ended conversation, you'll fall flat at some point. You'll run out of things to say and talk about. You'll run out of words and topics. And this is true outside of language learning. It's easy for conversations to die when you run out of things to talk about. A freestyle approach to conversation is nice for advanced learners or people who do serious preparation, but it's not so great for beginners. This is one reason it's hard to make real progress with speaking. You run out of things to say. But there is a way to double your speaking time, even if you're an absolute beginner, even if you're low on words and grammar. And that's by adding structure that you'll find in our lessons. Let's get into that. Part 2, how you can double your speaking time with our audio and video lessons. Let's say you're having a practice conversation with that same friend, except this time, both of you have a list of topics to follow. Then, your conversations won't die out as quickly. The point is, if you have a structure to follow, like a lesson, there's always something for you to fall back on. And if you're already using our audio and video lessons, you get just that. So here's how you can use our lessons to double your speaking time. 1. Make sure to listen to and review your current audio or video lessons. Why? Each lesson conversation is based on a certain topic, like talking about the weather, talking about family, ordering food, and so on. So by simply taking a lesson, you learn a conversation around a certain topic. Lessons will give you a lot of topics to talk about, along with the relevant grammar and vocabulary, which many beginners might not have. Think about it. If you wanted to talk about a vacation, you'd need to know words like vacation, cruise, and holiday in your target language. You'd also need the right grammar points to help you express ideas. Our audio and video lessons will provide you with all of these, so listen to the lessons and prepare ahead of time. 2. Use the dialogue presented in the lesson. In other words, you can memorize the lines from the lesson dialogue. You're already learning conversations in the lessons, so you may as well use them for yourself. And doing this will help prepare you for future conversations. Think about it. We often use lines like, "Where are you from? What's your name? My name is, how was your weekend? I went out last weekend." Once you memorize these expressions, you can and will use them over and over. As an example, imagine you do a few lessons about the weather. You'll master a few conversations about it. The next time that topic pops up in real life, you'll be able to talk about it. And 3, each lesson comes with cultural insights. What does that mean for you? It gives you more things to talk about with a native speaker. So if you bring up a cultural point in a conversation with a native speaker, you'll likely get a good reaction and extend the conversation, because you're talking about what they know best, their culture. So today, you learned 1. Why it's hard for many learners to make progress with their speaking skills. It's because we tend to run out of things to say. And 2. How you can double your speaking time. Accomplish this by taking our lessons, memorizing the dialogues, and using the cultural insights. Today, traditional classrooms are no longer the only or even best place to learn a new language. More and more people are finding that they can easily learn a language just about anywhere they have a few minutes of spare time, including their daily commute to work. According to the US Census Bureau, the average American spends over 50 minutes a day commuting to and from work, or over 300 hours a year. But rather than simply sitting in traffic and wasting the time, you can instead use your daily commute to literally learn a new language in just a few short months. Our language learning program has specialized learning tools that you can use on your commute to and from the office to master a language in your spare time. What are some reasons traditional classroom settings just aren't the best option for most people in today's fast-paced world? Difficulty getting to and from class. Learning on someone else's schedule. Very expensive and may cost thousands of dollars to complete. Can take years to finally complete classes and learn the language. The simple truth is the traditional classroom instruction is simply not a viable option for most people in today's very fast-paced, time-starved world. Now, let's examine how you can learn a language faster, more easily, and at far less expense than traditional classes, all during your commute to work and back home again. 3 reasons your daily commute can help you master a language in the next year. On average, Americans spend more than 300 hours per year commuting. During the commute to and from work, over 6 hours a week is completely wasted. The time isn't used to help you reach any goals or objectives. But thanks to online language learning platforms with audiobooks and other resources that you can access during your commute, you can easily transform wasted time into progress toward learning a new language. With over 300 hours available annually, your daily commute could provide you with enough time to gain significant skills in a new language each and every year. Increase your earning potential while commuting to work. How would you like to transform all those spare commuting hours each week into more money for a new car, house, or even a dream vacation? According to research, someone making $30,000 per year can boost their annual income by $600 or more per year by learning a second language. Over the course of a lifetime, that's a significant amount. How? From work-at-home translation jobs to working overseas, there are many ways to leverage your second language into more money in your bank account. So instead of wasting your precious time, you can make your commute more productive and eventually profitable. The more languages you learn, the higher your income potential. Repetition is key to mastering a new language. Not sure if it's practical to learn another language while commuting to and from work each day? Well, not only is it possible, learning in your car on the way to and from work each day can actually help you learn and master any language quickly. The simple truth is that repetition is absolutely vital to truly internalizing and mastering any language. So, if you listen to audiobooks or even audio lessons on your commute to work, and then repeat the same lesson on your commute home, the information is more likely to be locked into your long-term memory. Our language learning program has been helping people learn and master language in the comfort of their home, during their daily commute, or any place they have a few spare minutes of time. Here are 5 features of our program that make it easy to learn a new language while commuting to and from work. First, the largest collection of audio lessons on the planet by native speaker instructors. Every single week, native speaker instructors create new audio lessons. All lessons are short, to the point, and guaranteed to improve your mastery of a language. Second, the word of the day. Simply exposing yourself to new information and vocabulary terms helps increase your fluency and mastery of your target language. So every single day, check out the word of the day and memorize it during your commute. It's a quick and easy way to boost your vocabulary every day. Third, daily dose mini lessons. Have a short commute to work but still want to make progress towards learning more than just vocabulary? Not a problem. Our daily dose mini lessons are 1 minute or less and are designed to improve your grammar, conversations, and pronunciation. Fourth, all content is available on a convenient mobile app. You don't need a PC or tablet to learn during your daily commute. Instead, all of our lessons, tools, and resources are available 24/7 via our mobile app. That means you can access all of our audio lessons and other tools during your commute to work or anytime you have a few spare minutes. Fifth, audiobooks and other supplemental resources. In addition to the world's largest online collection of HD audio lessons, our language learning program has audiobooks to enhance your understanding and make it more convenient than ever to learn a language during your commute. The average commute time of most Americans is over 300 hours each year, and it's the perfect opportunity to learn and master a new language. Use the dead time during your daily commute to learn a new language and potentially boost your lifetime earnings. Whatever your motivation, our language learning program has the tools and resources necessary to help you learn a new language each year during your commute to and from work. Immersion is often hailed as the most efficient and effective way to learn a foreign language. In many ways, it's true. With all the language learning methods out there, nothing else comes close to having to think and interact with your environment in the language you're learning. Unfortunately, though, most language learners wrongly assume that the only way to experience language immersion is to pack up and move to a foreign country. But not everyone can afford to spend a summer abroad just to learn a foreign language. Luckily, there are other ways to immerse yourself. These methods are less obvious, but they are effective. In this video, we'll take a look at 5 steps you can take for the ultimate language immersion experience at home. Number 1. Transform your digital world into your target language. Technology is an indispensable part of modern life. We interact with phones, computers, tablets, and other electronic devices throughout the day. Why not take these interactions and use them to practice your target language? Most devices give you the option of switching the language of the operating system. Switching your phone or laptop interface to your target language won't make you fluent, but it will help you engage with the language in a very practical way multiple times every day. Another way to transform your digital life is to check which sites you use on a daily basis and use them in your target language also. A great example of this is switching your version of Google. Using Google in your target language will allow you to search for things in that language, and you're more likely to get results in that language as well. So, if you're looking for a popular band, a show, or food, something that's usually written in your target language, it will actually be easier to find information about it if you switch your version of Google. Of course, you can also change popular social networks like Facebook or Twitter. You can even go to news sites for your fill of global news. Do you like podcasts? Try listening to a couple popular podcasts in your target language. Number 2. Write out a speech or conversation in your target language. A surefire way to increase your ability in a foreign language is to write out a mock conversation or speech in that language. Pretend you have to give a speech on one of your favorite topics. It could be anything from sports, hobbies, or even your favorite movie genre. Now, take some time to write out your fictitious speech. Inevitably, you will hit some roadblocks. But when you get stuck, research the words or grammar points you don't know. This is a highly effective and practical way to increase your vocabulary, and it'll help you practice thinking in a different language. Writing a long, connected train of thoughts exposes the gaps and weaknesses in your language studying. Once you know what these are, you're free to practice them and use them to continue on with your speech. This is also a great way to learn new words in the context of your entire speech. Context is king when you're learning a language. Learning words in the context of other words and sentences helps you surmise what new words mean. It also helps you get comfortable with how these words are practically used. Not to mention, context helps you to remember and recall new information more easily. Number 3. Practice with native speakers. There are a lot of great learning resources out there for anyone learning a new language. However, nothing quite comes close to practicing the language with a real person. If you live in or around a large metropolitan area, there's a chance that there are some native speakers nearby. Check and see if your area has any local language exchanges or language-speaking groups. You're likely to find a native speaker there. If you can't make a connection locally, you can search online. Just as there are language exchanges in the real world, there are also online ones, most of which are free. Number 4. Connect with other language learners. Native speakers aren't the only people who can aid you on your language learning journey. Practicing with other learners is also helpful. Don't worry if you practice with someone who has a higher or lower level in the language than you. If you're the more advanced learner, you can learn a lot by teaching someone else. As you help someone else understand difficult words or grammatical concepts, you'll find that you start to better understand them yourself. If your learning partner has a higher level, they can be the one to help you overcome the hurdles you encounter as a beginner. After all, what better way to learn than from someone who, as a language learner, has been in your shoes? Number 5. Reward yourself in your target language. At the end of a busy day, we all love a little relaxation and me time. One of the most enjoyable and effective ways to develop your language skills is to kick back and enjoy the language while doing leisure activities. Whether it's listening to music, watching a movie or TV show, reading a book, or even enjoying a good online video binge, even spending just an extra 30 minutes a day doing something you love in your target language can yield some serious long-term results. If you're a beginner, start with more basic content. You might have to start out listening to simple songs or even watching children's shows. After a while, though, you'll be able to dive into the meatier stuff and more engaging stuff as your proficiency increases. Learning a foreign language doesn't mean you have to spend your days straining over grammar rules or textbooks. Any way that you can take your learning off the page and make it more enjoyable will help you learn faster. Immersion is a powerful way to learn a foreign language, and now more than ever, the immersion experience isn't limited to just world travelers. With a little creativity and the right resources, You can experience the language without ever having to leave your hometown. Great work! Here's a reward. Speed up your language learning with our PDF lessons. Get all of our best PDF cheat sheets and ebooks for free. Just click the link in the description.